What's up, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 1. We're not really going to give any ratings for this. We're just going to kind of give you guys our thoughts. This is going to be not spoiler-free. This is going to be very much spoilers in this. So if you haven't seen the episode at all, click off the video now. You're going to get some spoilers.
If you're one of the people that did stop watching this in the middle of season 7 or whatnot, after watching this episode, I have hope for this season.
I think it's definitely worth a watch. So if you kind of got off the hype train, or you weren't kind of feeling it, I would recommend sticking with it.
Yeah. So if you're kind of in that boat, click off the video.
Mm-hmm.
Go finish up where you left off and get to this point and watch this episode. That being said, let's get right into it. I think it's been a while since I've watched a Walking Dead episode where I've been like, yes, that was a good episode. Because there's always, all of season 7, okay, Walking Dead is back. I'm very excited about that. And usually there's excitement with that because it's The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
this next season is going to be a little bit different, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Last season was, in my opinion, the weakest season of the entire show. Hands down, weakest season. A lot of people don't like season 2. I always liked season 2.
Season 2 is one of my favorites. I like season 2 better than season 3, honestly.
I always liked it. But I think season 7 for me was the weakest season. And I think that that entire season was complete just build up. And I mean, like, there's multiple episodes at a time where you're following like one character and it's just the most boring thing of all time. Like when you have that entire episode where you're following Tara, where she's in the female
I didn't think that was too
community.
bad.
I hated that episode so
Really?
much. I
didn't
don't like
think
her
it was that
character. Her actress is awful, and I don't like that episode at all. And so there's just kind of as an example, like there's episodes like that in season 7. And
my personal opinion with season 7, I do definitely like season 7 a lot more than you do.
What about the trash people?
The trash people were probably the lowest point of season 7.
trashy.
The thing with season 7 was I enjoyed every single episode while I was watching them. But at the end of every single episode, I was frustrated. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did really love Negan. I am a huge Negan fan.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
all the way, Team Negan. If they, for some reason, want to be like, hey, Negan's the new main character, and they have Negan kill Rick, I'm down.
Real talk, Negan or the governor? Ooh.
Like, who would win, or...
Who do you like better?
Hey, I'm not even
Negan, for sure. The governor, I'm honestly not the biggest fan of. He's aight. He's cool. He was a good bad guy. Governor was a good bad guy. Did I enjoy watching him that much? He was aight. He was a solid bad guy, though. Negan, I love every time Jeffrey Dean Morgan opens his beautiful mouth. I just...
See, that's the thing, though. That's the thing about the governor and Negan, though, is you have Negan, who's very much... He's a villain. He's very much in your face. He's a villain. That's what he is.
He's a bad
But
guy.
the governor was behind the scenes a villain. Because you had, like... His entire community thought he was this great person, and then you have, like... I remember that reveal of, like, when he, like, sits down and he has all the heads in the cases, and I remember being like, the hell? Like, I was like...
He's like Antichrist villain.
Yeah, he's like behind the scenes just a very sinister guy.
Yeah.
And I personally like that. And so I think they're very different villains in that spectrum. So I think I like them both a lot. As far as like just villain, Negan probably, just because he's charismatic, he's a lot more in it, you know.
And I made him spaghetti.
You made him spaghetti.
Yeah.
You made him spaghetti. Nice. But yeah, so, you know, all that being said about season 7, at least, well, actually, give your brief thoughts on season 7.
Yeah.
8, you know?
I think season 7, like, you guys talked about a little bit how it's kind of just a build-up for the most part. And I think that's definitely true. I think season 7 was just like, I think it did serve a purpose for the most part, because it was for a lot of people, it was really testing your loyalty to Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Where the entire season was just like,
Especially
how fucked can we make the main character's situation?
Yeah.
Like, we've had some bad moments. Like, there's been bad moments with the prisoner and the prison and the governor, and the initial camps and stuff like that. But this is like a whole different monster. And the whole season was just, how fucked can we make their situation? And the fans that stick with this, we're going to try and reward them again in season 8. And at the beginning, like this initial episode with season 8, it definitely feels like I've been rewarded for suffering through season 7, which is like kind of genius, because they successfully gave me that feeling, and I feel like that in retrospect, that was the whole point of season 7, was to just put you down and make you really feel for these characters, even though some of them aren't the best characters and they had some really weird situations, trash people. Oh god, that was great though.
But I feel like that's such a big thing though, is you kind of have like I think when we're rewarded more this season with the things that are going to happen soon, I think that I'll then be like, okay, I would be okay rewatching season 7 to get to this point.
I think like before this initial episode came out, I like was not that high on season 7. After this initial episode, I got some hope. Just like the characters, I got some hope.
Yeah, because season 7 was sort of that. It was very much build up, and like you said, testing the loyalty of the fans.
It was build up, and then when that build up did kind of come to a head with the season finale, it let you down.
Yeah, and well, then I think that's such a strong
good.
First episode with Negan being officially introduced. Like he was in the end of the episode before that.
Yeah.
You know, you felt his presence through it, but like when he showed up in the first episode of season 8, to me that was such a strong opener. But then as like the season went on, it was like, okay, you have like 4 episodes of like, okay, you follow Rick in this one, you follow Tara in this one, you follow Maggie in this one, and you follow whatever in the and then it's like, all right, a month later, because 4 weeks have gone by, and you go back to Rick, and now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be like, oh yeah, Rick was trapped in this situation. Like the pacing was not on point. To me that's such a big thing, is I think their big problem, Scott Gimple's big problem when he's writing this, is he wants to make sort of every season kind of be its own story. And he wants the turn of events to happen in the next season. He wants he wants this to be like the turn of events. But when you have 16 episodes, for the love of God, if the story
should have been like 10
episodes. If the story is gonna just, if you're pulling it stretching it so far, and it's like you can tell that story in 10 episodes. You know what I mean?
Or less. There's a lot of shows that, like, if they're going down like a dark path, or their characters are taking like a downward turn, they're on the upward struggle, that sort of thing, then a lot of shows will do that in 2, 3, 4 episodes, that sort of thing. Not entire seasons.
Yeah.
Which, you know, and it's like in the comic books there was a lot of shaming. There was a lot of like, Negan is he's it right now. Like, that's everybody else is below him, and they do that in the comic books.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm telling you, when I was reading the comic books, I was never bored. I was never like, oh my gosh, when is this going to go through? And you'd think in like a book it might go a little longer.
Yeah.
But in the show, when they have 16 episodes, it did not feel nearly as long.
It was weird because it's like,
there was a lot that they added in season 7 to stretch it.
Yeah,
there really was.
They established the beginning of season 7. Which I'd say the first episode of season 7 is hands down my favorite episode ever of The Walking Dead. Yes, it made me feel sick. It disturbed me, but that was the point. It was so incredibly well written. I love that episode. Which is kind of funny because the first episode of season 7 is my favorite, while the last episode is probably one of my least favorites.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they're just like, this is what's happening with season 7. It's going to start off with this. I want to end season 7 here and have season 8 be here. Now let's fill in the gap. That's what season 7 felt like. It felt like they were filling in the gap.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, that all kind of being said, summing up season 7 a little bit, moving into season 8, the first episode, you can feel it. You can feel that all this build-up was finally like, we can let loose now and we can give you guys what we were originally intending to give you. So it's kind of like you could feel that in this episode because it gets right into it. Like, it opens with sort of this Rick kind of, it's just this really calm scene and Rick's just kind of looking off and you're getting little bits of like, you get like a little flash forward of
like a potential future.
Yeah.
We don't really know it's a flash
Exactly.
forward.
The future that's paying homage to the very first episode, because this was the 100th episode.
Yeah.
of
And I don't.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
You guys noticed like the there's Rick in the hospital bed, but then there's also Carl with the gas can.
Yeah.
Walking through.
Yeah.
And then the little girl that Rick shoots in the first episode, she is the girl who comes out of the woods when Rick tells Carl to leave. And Rick is kind of still lingering there after he's told Carl to let go or whatever. He's like still lingering there, and a walker comes out of the woods, and it's a girl. And he like, you see him like pull out his gun. That's the same actress.
Wow,
which is really cool.
Crazy.
And then so there was some callbacks, and I think that's really cool. And then so there's sort of this potential flash forward of him as older, which the Weird Al song, I like immediately tuned to that, and I was like, why is this playing? Because I was like, wait a second, is this actually in the episode right now?
Because I heard it, I was like, isn't this like
I didn't even notice that.
This
You
is
didn't
Weird Al.
Really? Yeah, it was the Weird Al song.
Maybe I did in the moment, but
another one rides the bus.
Yeah, it's so great. No, and then like later in the episode, when he gets out of bed and he's like walking around the house and he's like talking to Carl or whatever, and Carl's like, no, it wasn't me that put the song on, and you find out it's Judith who put the song.
Yeah,
she was the one who was actually her music taste, I guess. Kind of tells a little something about maybe what her character's going to turn into at that point in the show. You know, she's just kind of a little
they conveniently don't show Carl because it's like,
how old is Carl?
How old can we make Carl? And then I'm assuming they probably tried it and they're like, no, we can't show Carl.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Rick is giving this speech to all these guys and his soldiers and stuff from the different, like, I guess, factions, and then basically just gets right into it. There's like this almost like stealth mission going on, and it felt so cool. Like
where it like shows the guy in the guard tower and. That, like, I sure was like, oh, damn.
Yeah,
like, it surprised me.
For a brief moment, I thought that was one of them up there.
Yeah.
And then I realized, it's like, oh, no, this is Negan's people, and they're taking out Negan's people.
And they're just kind of, they're going through, and then a little bit later in the episode.
Like, they're super organized. Like, they got a laundry list of, like, people to take out.
People they have to take out, And so it's like, they've been... What I loved about this is there was so much build up in season 7, and then this one was like, all right, we are skipping the briefing of, okay, we gotta take out this guy, we gotta take out this guy, but like they're going of them like scouting the areas.
Them looking at
because that would have been totally unnecessary.
Just jumping right into the action, giving the fans what they really wanted was perfect, because I think, you know, whatever. But anyway, so I think, but then there was like that scene a little bit later when Rick goes up to that guy when he like comes up and he like stabs him,
chained up, or
when
he like stabs him and he's just like staring at him into his eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, he's so savage, and then he's
no, that's a different one. I'm thinking of
like the walker on the chain.
Yeah, the walker's like roped.
That is, but then he cuts it
because he stabs him and he falls down and shit.
But yeah, and so it's sort of the stealth mission, and it felt so cool. And then
Whenever Walking Dead does like the stealth missions, it's always like really awesome.
Mhm.
Like when they went into the satellite station.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That, and then there's that whole scene.
That was really brutal, but it was
Glenn
really
and
cool.
all the pictures on the walls and
Oh,
stuff, and the guy,
yeah.
and they're killing him in their sleep. So cool. No, it was
Mhm.
great. And I love their sort of stealth missions, and this felt so cool because it really, like, there not a lot happens until like toward the end of the episode. You're kind of getting back into it. You're sort of like, okay, they're picking these guys off. What are they really doing? And then it's kind of like really in the end of the episode, that's where you're like, oh, all the timelines are connecting. This is what's happening. There is like sort of 2 timelines though. There's like 3, I guess. There's the, I guess, future old man Rick is what people are calling him, and then there's another one which they showed not as much as all the other timelines, and that was one where it's just sort of like a shot of him like crying.
Rick,
And his eyes
like
are all red.
stressed out.
Yeah, and what is he? Yeah, he says
They
something
really
at the end of the
didn't
episode.
like really show much at all in that
Which
one.
they
So, like,
definitely
it
will
all-
at some point.
Yeah,
which
it always
adds
kind of
that.
confused me though, because I was like,
I was
"Where
trying
is
to,
this
like,
at?"
I couldn't really tell, but I was trying every time that flashed, because it wasn't there for very long every time that it came on, but I was trying to tell. It's like I was wondering if he was wearing the same clothes. I was looking for any kind of indication of like whether or not this is in like is this gonna be fleshed out in this episode?
Yeah,
or
I was trying
like
to
something
figure
gonna
it out.
go
gonna
wrong.
be
So I
end
was
of
really
season.
trying to pay attention to
Like-
those little things to see if it would be in the episode or not.
Yeah, and that's what they like. It's the dynamic there where they want you to like make 2 very different assumptions. Either something goes very wrong, or everything goes very right, and Rick becomes like this old man, and like everybody's okay.
Mhm. That is
Um,
kind of cool. I didn't think about that. It's almost
But
too opposite.
also,
Yeah.
both things can happen.
Yeah, both. can
It's not
happen.
assumed that anybody dies necessarily, and when Rick is all stressed out, like he could survive through that thing. So it could be a number of different things. We don't know.
Yeah, maybe those are stressed out happy tears.
Well, even in the end, he says, what does he say? The episode's called Mercy, but in the end, it's the
He's
last
always
line.
saying like
It's
not
the-
about me.
Yeah, it's the last line in the episode where he's like talking, and it's when he's crying. It's in the shot where he's like crying, and he says, I showed mercy and prevailed over my like revenge or something like that. I wonder if that's like sort of
Yeah.
hinting at maybe like in a way maybe like Negan's fate, because he's very much out to kill Negan. He's very much
yeah,
out to get him, you know.
maybe.
And then but he shows mercy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
But
As far as like what happened in the episode, it wasn't necessarily.
It wasn't
mercy.
necessarily,
It was
yeah.
just
exactly
don't have time.
Yeah, so that's why I think
Obviously,
it's maybe a future
somebody's
thing.
gonna have to die in that situation for it
Yeah.
to be like broken again like that. Because
Prob-
like Rick
yeah.
has become a pretty like tough dude.
At this point, yeah, because season 7 he was broken, but then over the course of season 7 he got stronger and stronger.
Probably my favorite part of this episode was just when like Rick was giving all of Negan's lieutenants an option to survive.
At first in that scene, I was very, very much like, oh my god, Negan and all of his like main cronies
Yeah.
are literally just lined up right there.
Yeah, that did
But
kinda...
I kind of understood because they were trying to waste time for like the Walker horde to approach, which was
Yeah.
smart. But it was also like,
Yeah.
Well,
you could do both.
Because they
Yeah.
did point out in season 7 there's like if we kill Negan,
yeah,
another one's just gonna
that's
take
what I was
his
gonna
place.
touch on.
So it's like to an extent it doesn't make sense, but at the same time it's like
But literally
Well,
everyone
wait,
that could
well,
take
well,
his
but-
place
well,
are right
well,
there.
that's the thing though is I think that it gets you a little bit because you're kind of like, just shoot him, please. But at the same time, he has an entire army of guys that are I'm Negan. Granted, some of them might not be complete followers of Negan, so when he dies, they'll go, "All right, Rick, I'm coming with you."
still,
But there is a lot.
they
of
got
them.
their own little city of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, there is a lot of them that could probably,
Yeah, and that's
on their own, demolish Rick's group.
And that's why they needed the horde. And like Rick,
The horde was
anyway,
the
like
point, yeah.
when he's like counting down, he's just like,
fuck it. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he's
that was the moment where I was like, okay, that's cool. Corey's just like counting, and then he's just like 7, and they just start shooting.
He's
And
just
it's like,
yeah.
oh, that part was cool.
Yeah, because and then he's like, you really want me to count for you? All right. And so no, and then
it's great in like the beginning. Like it happened a little bit last season, but like at this point, like Rick's not broken anymore, and like he has some leverage and a little bit of safety where he can be sassy with Negan now.
Here's
As much as like Negan has been kind of sassy to him.
Here's something with that shootout though that was kind of similar to the season 7 finale shootout, and that was my main issue with the season 7 finale. They had many shots of like cinematography shots of these main characters, these good guys shooting, but then not showing what they're shooting at.
Oh.
And then not showing the bad guys shooting back at them.
Every single combat scenario that they're in, they usually do.
It seems like it's gotten kind of bad though. Like it's usually okay, but then
even in this, a lot of just like we're all going to shoot in this general direction at the same time.
But then like even in this episode, they made it seem like people were shooting back, but they didn't show it. And it was like, is somebody shooting back or not?
I don't think
didn't
anybody
realize
was,
how
though.
tall that building was.
Yeah.
Until it
Zoomed
like
out. Pans
Because
back.
like at first it was like nobody was shooting back, but then like some more stuff started happening where like it was giving more chance. I was like, is somebody shooting back?
But then they're
taking cover and
But
everything.
then there is in later when Gabriel goes to try and
exactly. So
there is people
I just think it was a honest cinematography issue.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah, definitely.
But
that's probably an issue for sure.
Yeah.
I think they had a set issue because like that was like a really tall building, and it would be kind of difficult to effectively show like, the other people looking down at them.
They literally could have had a shot of somebody in a window, just from inside the window, being in there with them. They didn't show anything, so I was honestly really confused. I'm like, if people shooting back at them, and you're all shooting, why are you guys not hitting anybody?
I don't think there was people. Two things. I don't think there was anybody shooting down at them until like a little bit later. I don't think it was right away.
But then even then they didn't show it though.
Yeah, they still didn't show it. And but then second, at its core, they weren't necessarily trying to shoot at anybody. They were all trying to fire at like the building itself to attract the walkers there. So it's kind of like
true.
And so when they open fire, then they're like then it flashes to let me kind of jump back a little bit, and then so after they kind of pick off everybody, you're kind of figuring out how the mission's going to go and sort of what's happening, and they get all these walkers to follow them and stuff, and explosions are happening to keep leading the walkers towards them, and they're getting this whole herd together. And so they like get into this town or whatever, and so they're trying to get it there, and then Daryl gets on his motorcycle after they after they take out their like this whole like sort of like battalion of guys coming through in their cars.
Yeah,
they
that
blow
seems
them all
super
up.
cool.
That was cool. Morgan does that, and dude, I fucking love Morgan. Anyway, yeah, and then so kind of after that, Daryl gets on his motorcycle and starts really officially leading them, and then at that point you're like, okay, they're definitely taking the walkers to Negan's place, to do whatever with them. And so, but before he gets on the motorcycle, you start hearing the gunfire, and so then they're like, all right, it's time. It was nice working with you. And like that's what Tara I think says to like Carol or something.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, then you kind of realize they're not trying to really shoot anybody. That the whole point is to just, that was the signal to start bringing the walkers over, and then the walkers are going to keep going that direction because of the gunfire.
So the shot on like the freeway, where they
it's kind of the overhead. Sort of.
Not the overhead, not when they were on the overpass there, but just like the beginning where they park. I think they park the van, or it was the shot where the freeway's like curving off into the right, and there's like some forest blocking it, and then you see, they just kind of like walk away from that scene, and you have no idea what they're doing. And it's just like a really long
scene where they're coming around the corner.
It's not even that. It's just like a static shot at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, the vehicle explodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then it takes a little while for the walkers to come around, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So you're like, because you're kind of just.
How long it took? Like
I was like, what is happening?
I
They're
was
all
watching
talking
it.
about like timing and stuff like that. It's like, oh, they're gonna be late.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. You're like, what is happening? Like, are they meeting up or something like that?
Because literally, like, I thought it was just like gonna be a shot like that, and it was gonna be a commercial break. That's what I thought was gonna happen, and I was like, what's happening? And
yeah, because it never transitioned.
Because like literally, my mom, I was watching it with her, and she's just like, "We get the point, move on." And
then it explodes. You're like,
I think there's gonna be something, and then it exploded.
You're like, okay, I get it. It was supposed to be sort of like an elongated shot to show the
a little too long, I think.
Yeah, this group has definitely. I mean, like a lot of these groups, but in this episode, you definitely see it. Like they've learned how to weaponize the walkers.
Yeah, for sure. What is kind of funny is like it's kind of the same thing with Fear the Walking Dead, with what Troy did.
Yeah, very similar.
But yeah, no. So and then, there's, they all come around and then so then the Daryl sort of, you don't see him show up there because obviously he probably just went off. But he goes away and the walkers follow the rest of the way to the gunfire and then the plan kind of comes through that it was just to get the walkers over there and stuff. But yeah, so
they have their little barricade cover cars.
Yeah,
which and the whole hilltop leader. Yeah, when he showed up,
Gregory.
I was like, Gregory, and then like we stand
AKA
with Maggie.
Coward.
Like, yeah, that was cool.
That was definitely a nice touch.
But then him, Gabriel.
Okay,
Ooh.
so yeah, and then so basically, Rick is sort of in this moment where Negan has. After they've opened fire and stuff like that, Negan jumps down. He's like hiding behind something, and Rick's trying to hit him through the thing. And of course, the adrenaline. I saw people online going, "How could he not hit him?" I feel like a lot of people overlook things.
He could hardly see his legs.
I feel like a lot of people overlook things.
And he was very far away.
Yeah, I think a lot of people overlook things in the show to simply hate on it. And I think that you need to understand that, like, the adrenaline, the fact that right now he could hit this guy. I feel like he may have been like shaking. You never know. I mean, like
oh yeah.
I mean, you gotta think about that.
Literally, he was far away. He had a submachine gun.
Yeah,
literally.
Like,
if you've played,
because he's like, I can kill this guy right now. Like, this is the guy who's
even to like a fraction of that. If you've played like video games, you're the last person on your team, and you have to clutch it. Otherwise, everyone's gonna be pissed at you, and you're like,
yeah. And so your hands are that's just how it is.
It's like that. But 1,000 times more intense. You
have to take into consideration certain
also,
things
your
like
speakers
that.
Aren't working.
You have to take into consideration things like that. And so then Father Gabriel comes up and he's like, hey, this isn't about you, man. Come on. Like, and he's just like...
first he's like, hey, this is about you. And he's like, fuck off, Gabriel. I'm doing something.
Yeah, and then he's
like, bruh.
Gets him in the car or whatever, and then Father Gabriel hops in his car, and everybody's kind of peeling out, and then Gregory is kind of by himself, and after he's basically told everybody through the hilltop that the hilltop stands with Negan, they don't stand there by themselves, and that's it.
Yeah, so now Gregory does not have any friends at this point, and he knows.
Yeah, it's been pretty much established that
Gregory's a dick.
Well, that and so it's been pretty much established that. Yeah, Gregory is a coward, and pretty much I think everybody is going to be led by Maggie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because
I think
when Jesus said Hilltop stands with Maggie, that's what.
Yeah.
But then I guess Rick
had
his
that
moment
scene,
of saying something to her
which I'm trying to remember because I only watched it the one time, but I'm trying to remember now. As far as the timeline goes, was this a few days ago? Was this before or after the first little battle?
The speech?
The speech. No. The speech was before.
Yeah.
But the scene where he was like after everything,
where he's like in the sun.
No. Where he's like after everything, you're when he goes up to Maggie, he's like after everything, you're gonna.
Didn't he say that like literally while they were at the compound?
No.
I think it was right before.
I feel like they said it afterwards.
It would have been afterwards, because then there was also the whole thing.
Because they were waiting for Gabriel for a moment and stuff.
Oh, it was that scene. Yeah.
And
then another scene, kind of going back a little bit, that I really liked was seeing. There was that one kind of calm scene of everybody together after they got all the cars, and you kind of knew what was about to happen. And there's that scene where the camera's going through, and you're seeing all the different characters talking to each other, and it's like
different interactions between the different groups.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool to see, like, you know, you have like Ezekiel talking to this person,
and then there was
kind of that bigger guy's name.
Yeah, and he's giving it to
Enid. It's just kind of cool.
He's giving his like armor, and he's like,
which,
put it on your torso.
If you watched Talking Dead afterwards,
I didn't get a chance to.
That was broken. Like his arm or his leg?
It was. I think it was like some
like,
sort of
his arm
something
pad.
like that.
That's something like that. It was broken, and he was giving that to Enid as like a torso protector.
Yeah. But I liked that scene, kind of everybody together, and it felt for the first time like we were actually gonna see Rick be able to properly fight back, and it felt so nice after an entire season of just Rick just being on his knees pretty much the whole time, and metaphorically and
Rick gets to do his Rick stance when he's shooting something. He's just
it's the arm up.
Yeah, the arm up. Tactical.
Doing his like I'm just casual. Oh wait, I'm shooting at you.
Yeah. But yeah,
which is super bad.
He always like leans into it. He's like.
And then obviously kinda, everybody knows the revolver.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same kind of mannerism with just an AK.
But he seems like he's like dealt with it before though, which I like. He always kind of like, even when he's like examining the gun, he just kind of holds it, and I don't know, it's kind of cool little touch.
Yeah, he's very like comfortable with it.
Yeah, it seems it's really in character. But yeah, and then Father Gabriel's getting ready to leave, and Gregory's like. And then he sees Gregory. And his inner
I'm a priest who didn't save my congregation. Here's my chance to save somebody because I'm a good person now.
Yeah, but it kind of on one note it irritated me because I was like, all right, he's kind of grown past the whole like he knows who's bad and who's good. He's no longer like I'm a priest. But then there was like that scene. But then again,
here's the thing though, even though it pisses you off, it's totally believable.
Well, you know, because
if you're in that moment, you see somebody struggling, and you're like, they're gonna die if I leave. Mm-hmm. Part of you is gonna be like, even if you know this particular person's a coward.
I guess especially his character.
Well, and so
part of you is gonna be like, you're at least gonna think about it. No matter who you are, you're at least gonna think about it.
Yeah.
And because of Gabriel's history,
this guy's not like an evil person necessarily. He's just a fucking coward.
Yeah, and so...
And Gabriel, being the coward, used to be the coward, not the coward anymore. He's seeing somebody...
It kind of gets me into that point of, Gabriel, no. But then there's also, like, that sort of thing where I don't think I was like, in my head, I was like, I thought you grew past that, but then I kind of thought about it more, and I was like, I don't think we've actually seen him in a situation like this where he's been on his own, he's been able to make a choice for himself, and like this is something to redeem himself a little bit. This is something to kind of grow beyond where he's at right now, and so he's like, he even has like that.
Yeah.
And then he just like contemplates it, gets out, goes to help him, and then they're getting shot at, and they're in cover, and they can't make it out, and then and he gets up, and he's just like. And Father Gabriel's stuck there, and
we're
Gregory
gonna go
gets
in
the
minute,
truck.
blah blah blah.
Gregory gets in the truck and takes
like,
off.
Hey, I'm Gregory. I bet you didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and so and then Father Gabriel goes through and
he books it through the walkers. He's like trying to find some cover, like a way out, and then he ends up in
a small building,
this little small building.
This
like a little trailer,
yeah.
And Negan,
I hope you're wearing shitting pants.
Yeah, no. He's like, what? And then comes out. He's like,
shitting pants.
You're gonna be shitting here real soon, or something like that. And then it just ends. Well, actually. Was that like the very end, or did it cut to something?
I feel like for anybody trapped in that trailer with Negan.
No, it ends with it flashing to the it flashes to Rick.
It goes back to his speech,
Or it goes back to like where he's sort of crying and he's like, I prevailed over that, and then it cuts. I think that was
right there was super good dialogue.
Yeah, and so it's sort of I'm trying to think of some stuff that we might have like missed to touch on a little bit.
I don't think
Well,
so.
I wanted to like, but besides, so the rest of that little trailer scene, like, I think they have had to have put Gabriel in there with Negan, because I think anybody else would have just like open fired on Negan. That sort of thing.
True.
Gabriel has like
That
a
sort
little
of
bit of hesitation.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more fear overall, just because he's relatively.
He doesn't just kill people just to kill people. I think he was actually ready to kind of reason with
even
them
though he's
maybe
becoming a
or
badass,
something.
he's new to this whole badass stuff.
Exactly.
So,
One thing I wanted to mention about this whole scene that we just kind of went through, rest in peace, the RV.
Oh yeah, that's right. I literally, like, I said that out loud when I was watching it. The
and
RV,
I didn't even think about that just now.
that because people always like point out the season 1 characters. That RV was a season 1 character, and it is.
And they put him in an iron mask.
Well, wait a second.
like-
So I thought that they had gotten a different RV since the farm. I could have sworn they had a different one. I thought they left the RV at the farm. Did they not?
No, this is definitely the same RV. I mean,
because I remember them having the RV.
They wouldn't have put in. You know how in Talking Dead they do that in memorandum.
Oh, and then yeah.
The RV was in it, so I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Oh,
RV.
okay, because I didn't get a chance to watch Talking Dead. I wanted to, but I didn't get a chance to. It never recorded. So I could have sworn that it happened, but then again, I remembered it in seasons like 4 and 5, and then.
It was a good death.
And then one of
it was a good death.
That
was
kind of
season 6. One of my favorite moments with the wolves, where Rick's in there alone and he like takes out all the wolves. Ooh,
yes, when he's in there and by himself, yeah.
And he goes all Rick Stance and it just
and
he's
like,
the wall.
It did end.
This is how I hold a AK-47.
It did end where he was in the trailer.
Rick.
It did end where he was in the trailer with Negan, because then the camera goes up and all the walkers surround it.
Yeah, that's
A
right.
nod
Yeah,
to
the
tank
aerial
in
shot.
season
Yes.
1.
But yeah,